Wouldn't be the Christmas shopping season if the stores were any less hotter than they are.
I hope he falls and breaks his neck.
I'm sure he'll fall, but I don't think we're lucky enough to have him break his neck.
Shitter was full!
Welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor, someone involved that made the film we're watching, and the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. Really hope you enjoyed last week's interview with cousin Catherine herself, Miriam Flynn. So cool talking about her Second City days, right out of the gate, landing a sitcom. So cool. And her relationship with friend of the podcast and one of our favorites ever, Lance Kinsey. So if you haven't listened to that yet, go back and listen to it after this week's. This is the opportunity that we have. Last year, we covered Jack Frost 2 for our Christmas movie. And this year, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Before I introduce you to my partner in the sequel watching journey, I got to tell you, subscribe, rate us wherever you're listening, and also follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And here's my partner on the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good, Doug. How are you feeling?
Pretty good, man. This is not only is this my favorite vacation movie, it is my favorite title track. I like the title track to this better than Holiday Road. This is like a staple Christmas song.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's definitely a staple Christmas song. This is my second favorite vacation.
Ooh, okay.
I do like the first one. The first one is so original. You know, it's so good, and I love Holiday Road. I mean, so I'm a big fan. But this is probably one of my, outside of Die Hard, my second favorite Christmas movie.
Oh, controversial. Some people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's not a Christmas movie." It is a Christmas movie. Damn it.
Yeah, they're not movie fans then. But I do have, right off the bat, I mean, I love this movie. So, I mean, and, I do have one question, though.
Shoot.
Is this really a Christmas vacation?
No, it is not a Christmas vacation.
So that's the only thing. Like, it's, this is the fourth one in the franchise?
No, the third one.
Third one, but it's four of them, right? Yeah. And so 3 out of the 4, they go on vacation.
Yeah.
This one's not vacation.
I know, it isn't a vacation. It's not even like they have work vacation. Oh, I guess they sort of do, because they're all done with work for the year. It seemed on like the 22nd.
I think that's a reach. It's not, I think the titles could have been changed to something, I don't know, but I still love it. But I'm just saying, it's not really a vacation.
Yeah, it's like if they would have went to one of the in-laws' houses, or if they went to Eddie's, right, then it could be a vacation. Right.
Could have been like the Griswolds Happy Holidays or something. I don't know.
But they wouldn't fit in their blank vacation. European vacation, Christmas vacation, Vegas vacation.
All right, then they should have went to Aunt Edna or whatever. What's it, Bethany? They should have went to Bethany's house. That would have been, because they could have done the same exact stuff there.
They could have.
Clark could, so all right, whatever. We're past that.
And how about this? Lindsey Buckingham was asked to do the title track because he did Holiday Road. This is the only movie that's not, maybe because they're not on the road in this movie, really. So they're not going on vacation, but he turned it down because he didn't want to be known as a soundtrack musician. It's like, come on, man. People have careers over that.
But Kenny Loggins, yes, the guy that does Toy Story, what's his name?
Randy Newman.
Randy Newman. So yeah, come on. But so wait, so Holiday Road is in all the other 3 movies? I know it's in the first one. Oh, it is. Okay.
It's in European, right, and it's definitely in Vegas when Brinkley comes back, when she has the baby in the car.
You're right. Okay.
And just a cool way to kick the movie off with like the cartoon, and you have all like the little things that are happening to Santa during the beginning with the song.
You know what? I love the cartoon. I know a lot of people like, I was reading some comments that like they hated the beginning of it. I loved it. Like that's what the 80s did. They did it in so many movies. Pink Panther. They did it in, I think, Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer, and like all those movies, like they have the cartoon beginning. I think they're funny. I think they're, it's a great way than just staring at credits.
Yeah, no, totally. No. And it's John Hughes, the greatest comedy writer of all time.
Agreed.
It's gold. Agreed. Everything he does, and it's so crazy. You almost forget about these movies because they don't talk about him as much. But this story is the second one he ever wrote for National Lampoons. This one was called Vacation 59. And it was about like, I don't know if his stories were like, maybe they were about when he was a kid. Maybe his dad is Clark Griswold and his mom's Ellen. I don't know.
I could see that. Because I mean, yeah, but you know, I think Clark is a part of every dad. Like every dad that you know has some kind of Clark in him.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's singing in the car or anal about lights or like, you know, whatever, like, or wants the family vacation, you know, you got, you know, on time and everything. I think every dad has a little of Clark. Some dads have more Clark in him, but I just think every dad, like Clark's a piece of every dad.
He is. And the fact that this movie starts off with one of the options that you just mentioned, when it's just him belting, deck the halls with bells of Ollie. Top
and like his voice when he sings, because he sings later on also, he does like an opera voice. Like every time, like he really like goes out of his way. You know, now is that's the same car from the first movie, right? The station wagon. Is that the station?
I don't know. Is it the same? I don't know if it's the same brown panel with green. Is it?
I think so. How many station wagons look like that?
I don't know, but I was trying to think. That one got destroyed.
Well, that was my thing. So like that one got destroyed, but this looks, well, considering the kids are all different ages in every movie, I'm sure they have no problem having the same car in every movie.
I do love that they have different kids in there. I think that's the coolest thing. I wonder if they went in thinking that. Well, obviously, like if you think about them, not Dana Barron, even though she was in Death Wish 4, so maybe she wasn't available for European or the other one, but it's cool that they did do that. The different kids.
They okay. So, but did they change the ages also? Like, wasn't Rusty older than Audrey in the first movie? I feel like he was older than Audrey in the first movie.
I don't know. I don't remember like what the ages were, but they look like they're sort of the same ages. Like Galecki and
no, I feel like it. No, I think she looks older in this movie. Like Juliette Lewis looks way older than Galecki in this movie.
Well, she is older,
like,
yeah. She supposedly is like hooking up with college guys.
Right, that's what I mean. So, like, but in the other movies, I feel like Rusty looked like he was older in European, and Rusty, like Anthony Michael Hall, looked like he was older than. That's what I mean. Like it's so not only is it like they're different ages, but like they keep changing who's older. Like, do you think they're like, the audience won't, they can't tell the difference?
I think that's the joke. I think that's what probably John Hughes and like Harold Ramis, like these people thought about it, and Chevy, like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we had these kids that pretty much the only time they really age, and they don't even in Vegas Vacation, Audrey's a little bit older than Rusty in Vegas Vacation because he needs a fake ID and she doesn't. Right.
But they also got backwards because Rusty gets younger in this movie.
He does. He's really young.
So they obviously didn't know they were going to have 3 or 4 vacations. So like, I wonder, like, what was their thought behind the second one? Like, they couldn't get the same 2 kids. So they're like, all right, let's just like, I wonder how like that process. And then when they realized they couldn't have the same 2 kids, they're like, all right, you know what? Let's run with this gag then. Like, I don't know if that was the original plan, like to have it like a joke like that, but I think they kind of was forced into that joke.
Yeah, I would say Anthony Michael Hall in the first one in 82, 83, the first one came out. He blew up after that. So I'm not saying he wouldn't have done it because he was above it, but he was doing so many other of the John Hughes movies. Yeah. It probably just didn't work. And then they probably did run with it. But you know what's crazy about it? This movie, when it came out, the same week it came out, Back to the Future 2 came out. It lost to I don't know if they came out the same week, but when it premiered, Back to the Future 2 was like the #1 movie in America. This was 2. And then like it ended up taking it over like 3 weeks in. But this winter, there was only 2 Christmas movies, and Galecki is in both of them. Prancer came out the same Christmas season, and he's in both of them.
Who is that? That's not Dudley Moore, is it?
I thought the guy in Prancer, that's not Sam Neill.
Why Dudley Moore was an elf in one of the movies, that one of those 80s, movie. Wasn't Fred Savage in one of them too?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I'm not big on the other 80s Christmas movies.
I saw Prancer a long time ago, but all right.
But yeah, you had it like the kids, like just talking about them. you have Galecki, who's a monster. Like he was in he never stopped acting, like Roseanne, and then he had all these small little parts in movies, and then boom, he blows up with Big Bang Theory.
He does, but it's funny. Like, if you watch some of his stuff from, like Roseanne to Big Bang Theory, he was also in Suicide Kings. I don't know if you ever saw that with Dennis Leary, and he played like a geek there. So like, you see him here, he's kind of like a cool kid. Like he's not like dorky, like, so like, I wonder what happened to him that he's just started getting the geeky roles. Like you would never think that, like, I don't know. Like there must have been something that just either he just grew into it and turned into a geek on his own, or just like, I don't know. Cause I don't see that path if I just saw this movie.
Yeah. Well, I guess Hollywood, as soon as you do that one role, I don't know if he's like a geek and Prancer, but you get that role, you stick with it. Like Dean Cameron. Dean Cameron was the number one on the call sheet just from summer school. If there was a role like that, he was the first one to read for it. So I guess you get
look at Anthony Michael Hall. I mean, how many movies was he the geek? Yeah. All right.
And then Juliette Lewis, I think just what she's done and the way she's transitioned, even in like the last like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Some badass cop roles that she's been in.
Well, she's in a big show right now. Yellow Jackets.
Yeah.
She's
great. And just the way this movie jumps right into it, like he's singing Deck the Halls. They're going right to, buy the Christmas tree.
Well, you have the road rage first.
Yes, the road rage.
Okay. And, I think we've all had that road rage before, and Clark's such a dork, when he does it, but like, it was very funny. Like, and here's a fact that I heard, that the truck used in that road rage was the same truck from Overboard.
It is. I read that too. I love that you say you heard it. Like you have an assistant that whispers things in your ear.
Well, I have a lot of connections in Hollywood.
It's like that sketch on my favorite sketch on SNL, an update with Bobby Moynihan when he was the Italian guy, when people were feeding him the news. Hey, did you hear about this one? That's what that sounded. I heard it. I heard from someone.
Oh,
I was hanging at Musso and Frank's, and I was taking a leak. I was training a lizard, and some producer came up and said, "Hey, Jamie, I know you're recording a podcast tomorrow. Did you know that pickup truck was the same one in Over?"
Listen, don't be bitter because I have a lot of friends in high places.
Oh man! And this scene when with the trucker, the way he's gonna pass the truck with the road rage, when he's getting ready to go under, that like happened in New Jersey like 2 weeks ago. Not with a logging truck, but somebody pulled same kind of thing under a tractor trailer. They got stuck. The trucker didn't know that they were under. Other people called the cops, and luckily the car still was going with it.
And the car was still driving underneath the whole time.
Yeah,
because I was watching this movie. I'm like, how is that possible? How are the wheels on the truck keeping up with the car? Like without like, I just felt like it was a funny stunt, but like I was wondering, can that really happen? And I guess it can.
Yeah, if you get stuck and you're pressing the gas long enough, or even if you're just smart enough to pop it in neutral, you're going to go the same speed as the truck.
Okay, so that was a huge truck. How did Chevy Chase not see it?
Well, he's a doofus. He is.
But he if you watch the movie, he was literally looking straight ahead.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, it wasn't like he was like reading the paper or the map. He was literally looking at the road. That car, half the truck was ahead of his car.
Yeah, I know.
I find it impossible that he did not see that truck.
He was filled with so much rage from the rednecks outside of Chicago.
It just blinded him.
I don't know if there's rednecks outside of Chicago. I'm sure there are rednecks everywhere, but he was filled with so much rage. And talk about a guy that is a horrible driver. He trashes cars in every movie. Did he trash a car in European?
I'm sure he did. But
and the little car.
Wait, is he a horrible driver? Because it seems that every time he does go off road, he lands exactly to the place where he's supposed to be. Because in the first one, he lands right at the hotel. At the motel,
yeah,
in the parking lot. Here he lands right where the trees were. So is he really a horrible driver? Because
you're forgetting the part where he drove off the road in the desert in the first one and needed to be towed away. But
okay, so 1 out of 3, he doesn't make it. But he still makes it to where he needs to go.
Yeah. And I love that they always do that when you see the stunt car hit the snow pile because he avoids the monster snowblower. When he avoids it, you see the station wagon's front get like caved in, but no, it's perfectly fine later. Yeah.
Well, considering again, it got totaled in the first movie and he's still driving it. I'm still standing by that it's the same.
Yeah, we got to check
wagon.
that one. That's great. That'd be a great gag if it is the same one. That's awesome.
That's got to be.
So then they're going to look for a Christmas tree. He picks a tree. This is how dumb he is.
Okay. He walks past about 500 trees. He's literally like in the middle of like Alaska. It looks like he's in the middle of Alaska, walking in his own. And on the outside of where they were walking, there were rows and rows of huge trees.
Yeah.
So why? Like, what was he like? Did he know that one huge tree was going to be there?
I don't know, but I love it. It's like, oh, what do you mean, Dad? For outside the house? No, in our living room. And the fact that the tree, when he gets it inside, that tree was bigger than their house.
Oh,
it was so.
It was like when like Alice in Wonderland when she grows and her foot goes out the door, her hand goes through the window. Like this tree went to every single way out of the house as possible. But okay, so when they get there and his whole family is freezing. The kids ask him, or I forget how it came up, that he doesn't have an axe.
Yeah.
So tell me how they got that tree out of the ground.
Oh, I guess he walked all the way back to the car and froze his ass off.
They dug it out with his hand. And have you ever taken a tree out of the ground?
It takes forever. We did it 1 year, and I've always wanted to do it again. But then I remembered how much I hate it crawling under the tree and using a little saw.
And how big was the tree? Was it a small?
Oh, it was a small tree.
Okay. I mean, I took a bush out of the ground and it took me forever. So can you imagine taking the roots of that humongous? I mean, like that is a humongous tree. I don't see that happening.
That could have been a good bit if they left him there and then you saw the calendar change and he's still there. He's sleeping there and he keeps doing it. But when he's talking to Audrey and he goes, "Isn't it a beaut, Audrey?" And Ellen goes, "Clark, she'll see it later. Her eyes are frozen."
And it literally had like it looked like it was like ice all around her eyes, like they were like really frozen. And have you ever picked up a log from a tree that's like really thick? Like they cut down a tree from my house last summer, and like they cut it into pieces, and I'm trying to move it off my grass. I can't even move like part of the tree that was like cut into a log. They dragged this humongous tree themselves through the snow that was so deep that it was like up to their knees as they were walking. And they were able to get that tree to their car.
And not even that, get it to the car and then lift it 6 feet to put on top of the car. And that car was able to hold that. You think that they would crumble?
And how are they getting it to the front house? The front door. There's no way. A lot of questions about the tree.
Lots of questions. And now we got a lot of questions about, I think the people that are like, they're always labeled when you watch the movie as like the bad neighbors and the a-holes, but Todd and Margot, they are just trying to mind their own business. They're typical 80s, high fashion, new technology. We hear CD mentioned. They're wearing the shiny, like silver workout suits.
The sweat, yeah. But they look like they don't belong in a neighborhood.
No.
Like they look like they belong in a rich area. Like they're way too proper and fancy to be in that neighborhood.
They should be in downtown.
They should, but Clark does have a big house. Now, is this the same house he had in the first movie? Like, I think they only showed like one or two like rooms in the first movie. Like when they were playing the video game, when he was trying to like do the.
Oh, you heard about when he was showing his trip for the
yeah,
and Anthony Michael
and then Rusty, yeah.
I guess it kind of. I don't know. I feel like the other house, if I can remember correctly, the garage was on the left. I'm just remembering because I remember when he pulls. He pulls the family truckster in, and I just remember being on the left side of the house. We'll go to the videotape. I have a good memory like that.
All
and
right.
this one is on the right side.
Okay. All right. So then he moved up because this house is pretty big.
It is. Okay. Well, no, what are you talking about? He's in the food additive game. That's where all the money's at, man.
Oh, okay. All right. Although I question some of their products based on later on. So
I know. But yeah, Julia this time. And I don't know, was Nicholas Guest, the guy who played Todd, was he on SNL in those years too? Or just Chris?
I think just Chris.
Okay. Because he looks
But I
just
don't
like
know.
him. At first, I thought it was Christopher, and I'm like, he looks a little different, but they were great. They're dynamic, and Julia looks.
Well, she's awesome. Like, and she's so funny. I mean, like she controlled as the neighbor. She was the highlight. I mean, she was so funny. Like, yeah. Oh no. But like I said, they don't belong. I like the one line they said to him, like, where are you going to put that tree or something like that? And Clark goes, "Why don't you bend over and I'll show you?"
And then he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." He's like, "Oh, not you, her."
Clark does have a couple of good lines here. I mean, it's pretty funny.
He has so many great lines in this whole movie. He's so funny. And I think one of the underrated jokes, I love when we do these comedy movies, especially one like this, because there's a lot of not like jokes with lines. There's like those little jokes that some people might not like as much. I think one of my favorite things, like the drinking problem in Airplane 2, was the sap after he finally gets the tree with the chainsaw. And when he is doing the magazine and she's ripping everything off, and when he goes to kiss her goodnight, his hair stuck, lamp stuck.
So how did he get his clothes on then? Or was it sap? Or like what kind of magazine was he looking at?
Oh, maybe they just did something.
I'm just because she didn't have sap on her.
Just swallowed it.
Gee, whoa. Oh,
I gotta say, she is so gorgeous. Really, like think about her from the first movie, and just man.
Okay, she is way out of his league.
Oh yeah,
he must be like a mule.
He must be
because
Sparky.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned that. Where does Sparky come from?
I don't know.
Like what? Like is Sparky a nickname for Clark? Like I mean, like I don't think they ever in any of the movies. I don't think they address Sparky.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think. When I hear Sparky, first thing I think of is his dog.
A dog, of course.
Yeah, I don't know if he's maybe that's how he is in the bedroom.
A dog?
He humps like a dog.
All right, that's a good quality.
You're
like a dog in the bed.
Well, I guess in life, it's a bad quality. In the bedroom, positive.
All right. I thought Sparky. I wrote that down. I'm like, you know what? She says it a few times, and I'm like, because she does say she switches from Clark to Sparky, like almost like when she's mad, she says Clark, and then when she's like happy with him, she says Sparky.
Yeah, or she's trying to pump him up because one time he's really sad, and she's like, Sparky. But no. And they're talking about the whole point of this movie is this will be the first time that he ever hosted Christmas with. And it was funny because this is like 7 days before Christmas, I think. And she goes, "Oh, my mom called and they're going to come for Christmas." And he's like, "Oh, okay, great." And that is a nightmare.
It's more than 7 days because I think the first date is like the 14th.
Oh, it is that early? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. So, which brings me to wonder, he's hosting Christmas for the first time. He was planning on having the family there for 2 weeks.
That's insane.
Like, they're totally insane. So, like, yeah, I mean, I just don't like, yeah, that was, I mean, unless they're out of town, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
After 4 hours, I'm fake yawning.
And they arrived together.
Oh, that's the biggest nightmare. And I love the music that they played. It was almost like kind of like psycho-ish, like a horror theme. Every kid is like stops and they go to the door. And this is what I wrote down. There is a certain age that you get to that all you talk about is your health issues.
Hemorrhoids and everything. About. Yeah. But they literally made the parents exactly the stereotype that you hear about all the time. Loud, the in-laws always grumpy, complaining about this, complaining about like the Seinfelds, always complaining. Like it's just, they really gave them the stereotype of the annoying parents and in-laws.
Yeah. And the mom, Clark's mom, in real life, she's only 8 years older than him.
Wait, they Clark?
Yeah, they made her look older, but she's only an 8-year difference.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
Well, Estelle Getty was the youngest one of the Golden Girls.
I know, that's the best. So then we talk about his career. We see him at work, and we see him with a great character actor, Sam McMurray, who's like so great. He's great in
King of
Addams
Queens.
Family. King of
He's
Queens
also
is the
King of
boss.
Queens.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's so funny.
Do people do that at jobs that when you can get a big bonus at the end of the year, when you're asking him, what will you do with it? That was like, I'm like, whoa, dude, back off.
And at this point, shouldn't you know if you're getting a bonus or not?
Well, he thinks he is. Everybody is under
he
the
definitely thinks
impression.
he is.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like in real life, when you're at your job, you know how the company's doing. You know how your individual, like, you know if you're getting a bonus or not because you got to count on that money. So the fact that he thinks he's getting it, and based on all the things that he plans on doing, and we find out later on, how big does this bonus does he think he's getting? Because it seems like it's a massive bonus.
Well,
and for back then,
the pool, he put down a $7,500 deposit.
Correct.
So that must have been, let's say if they wanted you to put 50% down, 15 grand, his bonus for being a food additive specialist.
Not only that, he also offered to fly everybody back for the grand opening. Okay. So, I mean, how big of a bonus was he expecting to get?
Especially the nightmare last 10 days that you have. You're going to bring all these people back.
Money changes people.
That is true.
Money.
Then we get Brian Doyle Murray as the boss. He has a ton of credits, but just thinking about Caddyshack, Wayne's World, he just plays this role as like the dick so perfect.
Always. And I love the fact that he doesn't know Clark's name.
I love
that. He calls Clark about 4 different names.
Yeah.
And one of them doesn't even sound like Clark. Like, I think once he calls him Mark, but then there was one like he called him like Nick. Like, it was something like just so not Clark.
And then you have the Chevy, his like, I'm sure it's not riffing that he does sometimes, but when he's like, kiss ass sniffer. Asshole.
I'm willing to bet. No, he goes, Merry Christmas, or God bless you, God bless him, God bless you, something like that. I guarantee you he made that up on the spot. Like I could see a lot of his rants. I bet you he made up on the spot.
Well,
like
I have a funny story about the rant that is pretty cool.
Well, two of them. The happiest Christmas, and then the other one later on. Like, he has two big rants, and I bet you he made some of it up because that's what they did back then, and he was so good at it. I could totally see it.
No, so good. And then we get him, last minute Christmas shopping, looking for something for his wife, and man, this scene is so great.
This is like one of the funniest scenes.
Oh. She's
I was just smiling. I was just browsing.
This is such a great scene. His wordplay is phenomenal.
Oh, like, do you think he made any of this up?
What happened?
I think he probably wrote down like real things that you would say to a counter girl and just made it so they were like about boobs and her body.
Wouldn't be the Christmas shopping season.
Hooter.
Yeah, but I can see like picking up the underwear. I could see him making that up, like that part.
Well, you have your coat on.
Yes. Oh, do I? How did that happen?
Because it's cold out.
Yes.
I love when he loses it.
Nipply out. I mean nippy out. What did I say? Nipple? There is a nip in the air, though.
And then obviously that scene's so long I couldn't do all of it. But how about when Jonathan Galecki comes up? Do counter girls, I know maybe they make commission on it, I don't know how much, but do they really show almost their ass in order to sell lingerie?
There was I thought I heard about that years ago, that like Victoria's Secret, like if you ask them, you don't know the size of whatever your girlfriend wears or wife wears, that they'll come out and model it for you. Again, I never thought that was true, but I don't know where I heard that before. Listen, it was what, the 80s? When did this come out?
89. No rules in the 80s. That's true.
No rules in the 80s. So I wouldn't put it past it that if you asked, I mean, it's just funny because he acts like he first of all, he's always horny. Like, like he acts like every time he sees a good looking woman, he always freaks out.
Yeah.
And somehow all these women sort of flirt with him. I mean, it started off with Christy Brinkley, which you're ridiculous, and this every movie is a girl flirting with him.
Well, it works. Maybe not this girl. Maybe he has that it factor because look at his wife.
That is true.
He has that thing.
He does. He must have that thing.
Or maybe he just wears tight pants and they can see it. Like, I'm going to flirt with this guy. I don't know. You're right. Every movie. I don't know. European Is Christy Brinkley in that movie?
I don't think so.
No, she's not.
No, she has a callback in the other one, but no. But does he? Well, no. Rusty hooks up in the European, but I don't. Does Clark?
I'm sure some girl flirts with him.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's got to be. But he also he's so dorky because he never knows how to talk to the girls either. Like even when like Chrissy Brinkley went skinny dipping, like he was like awkward in that. Like he was like, this is crazy. Like like so he like I don't know. Like he doesn't know how to even talk to women.
And he screamed like a girl. As soon as he jumped in. He woke up the whole hotel. And I love when he explains things to his kids.
Oh,
every
with
time.
a very, very serious monotone.
Yeah.
And and the best part is the kids always understand him. Like they just like, yeah, Dad, we know. Like they just know what they have with their dad, and they're just like, all right, this is my dad.
Yeah.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
And then I wrote down, because in the next scene, he's putting up the lights with Rusty. And like, did he like inspire Home Improvement? I don't know what year Home Improvement came out, but the whole him setting it up, he hurts himself doing everything, whether it's, stapling his glove and basically falling off the roof.
Well, okay, so I have a few questions about this part. So one, those lights are all in a ball. Like, I mean, they're a complete mess. Yet he has a blueprint for the lights. Like that doesn't seem to go together. Like, that ball that he gives to Rusty to untangle looks like they're lights that have been like around forever. And, you just throw it in a box at the end of the year. Like, it doesn't look like it's supposed to go a certain way, but he does have a blueprint because he keeps looking at it, later on when it's not working. Two, do people actually staple the lights to a house? Because I would think that would be the biggest pain in the ass to take down.
Like, I don't know if people used to.
Really?
I feel like my dad did that because that was like, yeah, I feel like my dad definitely did that when we were younger. And then you just rip it down.
Yank them down? You just yank. That just seems like because yanking it down, I would think like you might possibly take that in the gutter. Like, I feel like that would be the biggest pain in the ass to do. Like, I don't know if people really did that.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you're not supposed to staple it to the gutter because then you're putting holes in the gutter. Usually it's like to wood you would staple it to.
Okay. Well, did he do it to the gutter or did he do it to a wood?
I feel like he did it to the gutter because that's when he stapled his glove.
Okay.
And then he fell and then he, made that ice that was sitting in the gutter fly into Todd and Margot's and destroy their CD player.
And I like how they questioned, why is it all wet? Like there was a broken window and like, or when they was putting up the lights, I think they said something like,
I hope he falls and breaks his neck.
I'm sure he'll fall, but I don't think we're lucky enough to have him break his neck.
But that is the perfect crime, right? You really wouldn't. You would question why it was wet, but it's not like you would think like an ice cube flew in and, I don't know.
Yeah, but the only person outside at the time was Clark. I mean, just saying. And now the 14th was a few days ago because that's when everybody came in. He's now putting up the lights a week before Christmas.
Yeah, it's like this is such a big deal. He has the blueprints, like you said. So none of it really like jives.
You would think he would have done it a month ago. Like he's so anal about so many things. Those lights would be up way before a week before Christmas.
Yeah, and he must have a lot of money. Well, not the bonus is going to go for the pool, flying everyone out, and the electric bill because when he finally does get it for a second. The meter is flying, and then another funny like gag, like almost like a airplane-ish, Naked Gun. When you see the nuclear power plant guy have to flip the switch,
but yeah, the meter was spinning out of control. Yeah. So how much money just for the 2 seconds it was on? 2 seconds. And Noah Clark, he's gonna have it on all the time. So just the 2 seconds, I can't imagine what that cost him.
I know. And I love that he's trying to get this done. He's trying to like put everything together. And this is like before we just mentioned, like when he finally does get it on, but he's asking for the drum roll, please. And dude, his in-laws are trashing him so hard right to his face.
Well, was this a scene when they all tried to do the drum roll and his father couldn't do it? He's like, blah, 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 blah. It was almost like Adrian tried to say the do 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 do, and then she goes do 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 do. Like, what? So stupid.
That part's so bizarre. Drum roll, and he's like, "Come on," and then it doesn't work.
Yeah, but Clark is someone that he gets so excited about so many things. Like that drum roll is everything to him.
It is. And then he had his kids, and he had Ellen calls him Sparky. His parents console him. But I love the scene when we see them all sleeping, and you get like Rusty and Audrey sharing the same bed. Creepy, really weird. I would sleep on the floor. One of them.
I wrote the same thing.
Couch.
Why? It's a big house. There's plenty of places they could have slept. Yeah. Why in the same bed? And it was like it was the smallest bed possible. So they literally are like sleeping cheek to cheek.
Yeah. I love Clark's dad is reading Sassy magazine that was in Audrey's room, and then Ellen's dad is looking at a model named Gloria. I was trying to think who that was. I couldn't see the name too well, but.
Well, did you notice the posters in Rusty's room?
Well, I noticed the one that the dad was looking at.
The poster.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see the one behind the bed?
No,
it was two turtles having sex. It really is. When you get a chance to go back and look at it, it's literally two turtles having. That's what 100%. That's what it looked like. It was two turtles, like a turtle behind another turtle.
That's amazing.
Not only is it amazing, it's extremely weird. If you have that poster in your room, there's something wrong with you.
It is weird, definitely, but it's weird about the company that made that poster. Do they have photos of every animal having sex, or just that animal?
Well, okay. So if you're gonna buy a poster of two turtles, would you have the other posters also for like a nature kind of thing, or is it like, are you just into turtles? Like, is there like, because I know what's the furries, like people that are into mascots? Is that?
I guess they're into I guess is that what you call it? Is that mascot? Is that what they're into, or are they just
what's a furry? Isn't that what a furry is?
I guess it is. I don't know. I never thought mascot. I don't want to drag. If there's mascots listening, I don't want them to get dragged in. That the Syracuse Orange mascot is that boning the Rutgers.
Okay, so forget furries. Isn't there one with like My Little Pony or something like that? Isn't there something with like?
Well, they're bronies, right? There's bronies.
You know the name of it? What a weirdo.
Weirdo.
Well, you knew the name of it, so you know what? I'm just saying you might. Are you a brony?
I'm a brony.
Okay, all right. There's nothing wrong with that.
Brony chapter 714 Jersey.
You're the head brony. You're the.
I'm almost head brony. I got to put in 2 more years. Chief brony? Is that what you just said?
Chief brony, not cheap.
No, that's what I meant. Chief brony.
Oh, Chief
Brody. I thought that was a Jaws pun.
No, but it could be.
I like it.
Okay.
So then we get Clark when he's hiding the gifts in the attic, which I get that you're going to do that, but you got to know that that's an unfinished attic. It's dangerous to walk. You have to stand those little planks, which we see later that happens. Why does he have to hide them there?
Well, yeah. I mean, why does he hide it there? But there's so much stuff up there. So I would think that why can't you walk around? There is literally a whole room of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So like there's a lot of weight up there to begin with. So I get why he's walking around. Like he's not being careful. But
he's a big guy.
Why are there like planks just laying around for him to hit like left and right? Like that scene when I think he got hit like 4 times.
Yeah.
Right? Was it just, and again, it's typical Chevy Chase. And as silly as it is, I laughed the whole time.
He's
it is
so
funny.
great at that. I love when he's putting the gift, when he's putting Ellen's gift, and when he's putting it away, he sees a Mother's Day from. Oh, I think that was for his. Was that for his mom, or was
I think it was for his mom.
Okay, because I think that was that his childhood house.
You know what? Maybe because they had all the tapes there, so it probably was. Because they had the you know what? I didn't even think about that.
Because that was a really old like I can understand. I know they could be around for a while, but Audrey's 16, I think 15. So I'm not saying it couldn't have that much dust, but it was like so much that you would think like it was 50 years old or 40 years old.
It was probably to his mom.
So he lived there.
It was a little touching.
Money.
Well, they probably So what, you think they gave it to the house to Clark?
Maybe.
All right.
They love him. He doesn't have any siblings. He's the only kid.
Is he the only? Yeah, he is the only kid. That makes a lot of sense too, by the way.
Maybe food additive people don't make a lot of money. Here's a house, son. You add your preservatives.
Okay, so if he was an only child, that's a pretty big house for 3 people.
It is.
Right? All right.
So many. So then he gets locked in the attic because there's a draft and Doris Roberts sees it and slams it shut.
Okay. If an attic stairs are down, you're not going to yell up. All right, is anyone up there? Like you're just going to close it up as if no one went up there because the ladder happened to be down?
I would, but she's a monster-in-law, and I don't think she would do that. She just cared about her coldness.
Okay, so how about the second that the door closed, Clark could yell. She's not going to hear him. It's not soundproof.
And
he makes, there's a lot of mistakes in this part that he easily could have helped himself. And we'll get to that.
What are you talking about? When he opens the window to yell out?
One, he could have yelled right away. 2, yes, the window. Or when he puts a hole in the ceiling and he lands on the bed with his feet.
Yeah.
Why couldn't he crawl out of there?
Yeah, he could have just, you're already going to have to replace that sheetrock, so he could have just ripped it all out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And of all the places to sit, he sits on top of the door.
I know. But if he did escape, then we wouldn't have seen him dressed like he was an extra in Birdcage.
What he put on, like, were those rubber gloves? Like, what was he wearing? Like,
he was dressed like a guy in Birdcage cleaning an apartment or something.
Spartacus. Wasn't it Spartacus? Wasn't it his name? Yep. Just the whole, like, the fact that he had to wear that hat or he put a towel. Was it a towel that he wrapped around his head? Like, what was that on his head? Was it a hat or was it?
It was like, it was like those towel wraps when girls get out of the shower. Yeah.
So why do you do that? Like, why do you have to wrap it like that? It's just so stupid.
And there was a lot of fur coats in there too. He could have put on just a bunch of fur coats, put them over his head, warm like a blanket.
But it wouldn't have been as funny.
No. Oh my God.
Clark's all about the funny.
He is all about the funny. And then he's watching the old Christmas reel-to-reels, like you said, and he's seeing these memories, and Ellen comes home. He falls right to the...
What I love about that scene is the timing because, like this is a Christmas movie. It's supposed to be like a sort of a family movie, but even though it's a little risque in some parts, but like he's watching these old clips and you see him and like, it's like a little tender moment, he's seeing like his childhood and literally out of the blue. Like it wasn't like, you're like, he just falls. Like it's amazing. Like, it was very funny. Just the way it happened. I was just laughing.
The music was family-ish memories.
Yeah.
And you see her for like 2 seconds and she pulls it right down.
Yeah. Very funny.
Man. And then you have Todd Margot. They just get done working out. Like we mentioned, in the silver workout gear. And he's like, I want to lick every part of your body. And she's like, but you're gonna shower first. She's like, she owns him.
She's so bougie. She's so bougie though. Like, 100% she owns him. But she gets the crap beat out of her the whole movie.
Like she's, and that fits for her career. If you think about in Seinfeld, like the things that she did, like physical comedy.
Oh,
she has it all. It's crazy.
She is so funny. And meanwhile, you ever see her husband? Or is it Brad Garrett or something like that? Not Brad Garrett.
No, she's married to, I don't know his name, but
he's a dorky guy. He looks, yeah, he is. But he was on Saturday Night Live also.
He
blonde
was
hair,
in the 80s class. Yeah.
Yes, he's very doofy looking. Like she is way out of his league. But I think his nickname is Sparky. So, that explains things.
So then you have him trying to fix the lights, trying to figure it out. Earlier, his dad said, okay, you know what? Bulbs. Check every bulb. And he's like, I checked them. I checked every bulb. I checked them all.
Did he check them all? I mean, it's a lot of bulbs.
Well, this is the next day when he's checking them again. And he's like, I'm almost done. And I do this a lot often, so I can admit when I make a mistake where I'm like, I don't know where my wallet is. And my wife goes, oh, did you check there? I'm like, yeah, of course I checked there. And I didn't. And it's there. This part was me when she was like, did you make sure it's plugged in? And he's like, of course I made sure the extension cord was plugged in. Well,
no, it was plugged in.
Well, something wasn't plugged in, right? Oh, well, the switch wasn't on. That's
the light switch. So it was plugged in. So yeah, no.
But he has those blueprints of where everything's going to go, but he doesn't have in his blueprints which one is activated by a switch.
Maybe he just moved into that house, his parents' house, and he didn't know that switch how to work. You never moved. You moved to a new house. Wasn't there a switch in your house that you never just don't know what it does?
Yeah, there's a room in the house we don't even go into.
Really? See, so that's what happens. So maybe that's just one of those switches where they didn't know what it did and they never used it before.
God, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but Married with Children, that's the funniest bit ever when they have the light switch going upstairs and they do it and nothing happens. And they spend the whole episode trying to figure out what it was. Even Bob Rooney gets stuck in the wall when they're trying to figure it out. And for some reason, it was a light that was in the doghouse. And it kept going on and off.
And I'm sure you heard the dog talking. Like, what are these morons doing or something? Well, it's funny. They did the same bit to Friends. There was I think a switch or something, and they had to try to figure it out, and they couldn't figure. Like, it happens everywhere. Like, I have one. I just moved last year, and I have one. We have a switch in our house. We have no idea what it does, and we've tried so many different things. We thought it was this and this. So I get it. It does happen.
But his mom flips it for a second. And he gets excited.
Well, because he thinks he did something.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he thinks he does. I mean, even when it does happen, did we get past when he kicked the Santa Claus already?
That might happen.
Might have happened already.
When it first didn't work, right?
Okay. So when he starts breaking the stuff and he starts kicking the snowman.
Yeah.
A little trivia here. He broke his pinky doing that and they left it in there. So when he punches.
Somebody tell you this one on the John too?
I'm not relieving my sources.
Knock, knock, knock. Hey, Jamie, you in there? Trying to do your shit.
Listen, again, I have friends in high places. They tell me the little secrets. It's my job to share them.
That's great. You're the voice.
But he broke his pinky doing it, and it was one take, and he just kept going. So great. Until he walked off. So when he walks off the screen is when they stopped it because he broke his pinky.
Jesus. Yeah, no. This is when it goes on for a second. That's when dude, Todd and Margot, their physical comedy, when they're interrupted by the beacon of light that shines in their place, and they're so disoriented. I love when they're so disoriented and it's like on, and they're like, Margot, I don't know where I am, and then he's like, finally,
he falls down the stairs.
Yeah, no, he's used to it for a second how bright it is, and then once it shuts off, he gets disoriented and falls down.
You're right. They had physical comedy throughout the whole movie. Like, they were very physical, both of them, especially her. Like, I mean, later on, like, it's falling off the bed, and it's just very funny. No, they were perfect.
Oh, and let me add this now because we talked about the house already a bunch. This house is the same one that's used in WandaVision. I didn't watch that show, but
really,
Clark's house, same house.
I did watch it. Interesting. You know what? Wow, I could see that. So wait, so what? So the house hasn't been used all this time? I mean, this is 30 years later, 40 years later, whatever. 30 years later.
They probably use it for other things.
All right. Well, you only named one, like a recent thing.
Well, that's all that's in the list.
All right. So then maybe they didn't use it for other things. Do you think people live there?
I talked to people in low places, and this is all they gave me. Sons of bitches.
It's funny. I saw WandaVision, and you know what? Now that I think about it, just the neighborhood of WandaVision looks like that neighborhood. So yeah, interesting.
That'd be great if Todd and Margot lived next door. That'd be a great bit.
So there's a connection between Vacation and the Avengers.
Look at that. Clark is an Avenger.
He really is. He escapes death multiple times.
Oh, he does. No.
Yeah, so he might be an Avenger. Okay.
He's very earnest-like. He can just take so much pain, and he's fine.
Wait, you talking about Ernest goes to camp like, you mean? Or just
Ernest P. Worrell, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Why is he like Ernest?
Ernest has that happen. He gets electrocuted.
Oh, yeah,
he
you're
falls, and he's fine. Just like seconds later. And Clark has the same thing happen. He fell off the roof.
Yeah, but isn't Ernest dead?
Now.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. Have you seen Chevy lately? He looks pretty.
Oof. Chubby, you mean?
Chubby Chase. Here's Chubby.
He's huge. It's almost a shame because he was such an icon in the 80s, and I mean, he's definitely has a bad reputation in Hollywood. Like they said, he's very difficult to work with, and he had issues with everybody. But he was such an icon, and you look at him today, he just looks like a complete mess.
Yeah,
he just let himself go. There's no way his wife would still be with him, Beverly D'Angelo,
no.
The way he looks today.
I don't even know who he's married to.
He's married. He's got kids. I mean, I don't think anyone famous, but just saying, his sparkiness is not going to last that much longer.
His sparkiness, so it's gone. No, what I was going to say is this is the fun fact that to me was mind blowing. Obviously, people in Hollywood date. They always dated. Sometimes when you find out, the first time I found out, Kevin Kline was married to Phoebe Cates. This is a few years ago. I was like, how did that happen? And they've been together since the 80s. This one is a cool connection because John Randolph is the actor who plays Chevy's dad in the movie, and he was also in Serpico with Al Pacino. In real life, Pacino is the father of Beverly D'Angelo's children.
I knew that.
You knew that they were together?
Oh yeah.
I never knew that.
Oh yeah, I knew that. They're not married, but they've been together forever.
Oh, they're together right now?
Well, they might be. I mean, I know they were together for a very long time when I was younger, younger. So I knew they were a couple. I knew they weren't married.
I knew that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Again, they might be together today. I don't know.
Lucky guy. And then you get the lights when the timing, he gets everybody out. They're sitting on the front porch this time because they're not going to go through the whole rigmarole.
And he does it with such force when he's
I don't think it's going to light different. It's not like the plug knows, shit, he put me together hard, so I'm going to get brighter or something.
Listen, he tried everything, so he might as well try that.
And it worked.
It did work.
And I love the celebration. Everybody's crying. His parents are crying for him, saying, I'm so proud of you. And then he even hugs his in-laws who he doesn't like, clearly.
Again, knowing how Clark is, I think everybody accepts what he's about. So even his kids, I think the average kid would be embarrassed by their father, right?
Yeah.
I think they accept him. They know how quirky he is, and they know everything is such a big deal for him. So they know these lights were even Audrey, who's the bratty daughter, she was happy for him. She was. She was. So I think they just know, listen, little things in life for him, he gets excited about.
Yeah, and then it leads to the funniest reveal of people being in a movie ever. I think the fact that Eddie and Catherine are there,
just the way it happens though, because he just slips in, and he turns his head and he's right there. So for the audience not to know, it's coming, I think it's amazing. He's been there the whole time.
I wonder if in the trailer it'd been great if they hid that, because obviously they weren't in European. And they were such a funny scene. They're not in a lot of the first movie. They're in probably 20 minutes, but they're in more than half.
But they left a mark. You talk about the first vacation, you're gonna talk about Eddie. He was such a So yes, but again, Clark being oblivious like he was with the driving. That's a big camper that Eddie's driving. You're not gonna notice that pulling up.
That is true, and it was already in the driveway. And he was going in and out of the garage and checking the bulbs, and he didn't hear that or notice it.
He didn't hear it or see it. Correct. So, and I have to assume, the thing's a little ratty. It's not going to be a quiet machine. It's going to be, it's going to make a lot of noise coming in. So the fact that no one noticed, like no one said anything, like, yeah.
You didn't have to go through all this trouble for me, Clark. And I love that. It's just like, thanks, Eddie. Eddie? Catherine? Eddie?
And his face, just his face, you can see like Clark's face just drops. Like he despises Eddie so much.
Yeah.
Like it's just, it's amazing.
And you have the redneck trashy kids. And
which are also different kids.
Well, no, these are kids we just haven't seen yet. This is 6 years later. The other kids are in rehab. One's because she drank too much, which is I can't think of her name right now. She's a big time actress.
Yeah.
And the other kid, the boy, they say a comment about too. Oh, he joined the circus.
Okay. So, but in the first movie, didn't one of them didn't have a tongue and she couldn't talk?
But she whistles like a bird.
Yeah, right. So how come this kid doesn't talk? Because the boy doesn't say 2 words.
He does not. Well,
does he also not have a tongue?
I think he says 1 word when they see Santa or something.
I don't know. I don't think he says anything.
It says it on here, like in the character descriptions. It says like he only utters like 1 word, which is weird. But
okay,
Rocky.
Right, well.
Rocky, who Eddie says, "Whoa, I wouldn't kiss him. He has this lip fungus." And then Ruby Sue, she was kicked by a horse because he said, "Oh, she's not cross-eyed anymore," and the horse kicked her, and now she's fine.
All right, so that's okay.
And it works out with our last movie that actually had Christmas Vacation in the movie. Maybe Rocky stole from this because Drago punched him. And it made him. So you think there's a connection between science and animals?
Yeah. So so you're saying if there's something wrong with you, hit your head really hard,
and it should shake.
It should kick by a horse or get punched by an angry Russian, and you're gonna be okay.
They're fine. That's the life cure.
There's such Naked Gun jokes. Like that's so Naked Gun.
I love it. And I love that every line they're together, like all their scenes together, just their back and forth I love that Eddie's oblivious, not knowing that he's just like this Tasmanian devil, like bull in China shop. And Clark just talks under his breath about him.
Oh, well, you know what it is? He's like a big child, Eddie. Like he's oblivious. He takes everything for what it's worth, like or not what it's worth. He takes everything for face value. So and so like he just doesn't understand. He's such an idiot, obviously. And Catherine is so quiet and just goes along with it. And it's just funny because Eddie's like a big man child.
Yes.
He really is. And it just
he says whatever's on his mind, like when he talks about the dog that has like the
snot?
drooling, the snot with the mucus disorder.
He's called Snot.
No, that's what I mean. The dog is named Snot and has the mucus disorder, and the fact that he stares at it and he goes, "Dog's got one hell of a set on him." Talking about the dog's dick and balls, like it's nothing.
Well, the name Snot would be a name a child would give something. I don't think that. So it's he's a child. Like he might have to get kicked in the head. If the horse kicked him in the head, he'd be like intellectual.
He'd have a job. Well, like I love what Ellen says about because when they have no money for the kids for Christmas, and he goes, "Catherine told me he's been holding out the last 7 years for a management position."
Well, again, he's not all there because we're not there yet, but when he goes shopping for his dog, he buys about 5 bags of dog food,
different brands
and different sizes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I love how close he gets to Clark when they're drinking out of the Wally World little mugs when they're drinking the eggnog.
Great throwback, by the way.
Yeah. There's a few other ones in here. I didn't write them all down, but there's like these few other ones that reference the first film. But the fact that he's so close in his face talking to him, and it almost seems like I'm not saying they did it in one take. Like Clark, maybe that added to the uncomfortableness because he looks so uncomfortable talking to him.
Well, I mean, the way he looks, first of all, I would assume Eddie probably smells really bad and has horrible breath.
Yeah.
So, and I'm assuming Randy Quaid is such a method actor that he probably didn't shower for weeks and brush his teeth.
I believe that. And no, the other one that I remember from the callback to Vacation is the shoes that he wears are the ones from the first movie.
Oh, they really?
That he wanted to give to Clark, and Clark wouldn't take them.
What, the white ones?
The white ones. He's wearing them in this movie, yeah.
Wait, is he wearing them also when he's wearing the Speedo with his shirt tucked into the Speedo?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that dream sequence because that's kind of uncomfortable.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right.
So then Clark's at work and he wants to drop off a gift to Brian Doyle Murray, his boss.
What is that gift? Do you know?
What it could be. I don't know what you get a guy like that sits. Do people really ever a table that long and he sits at the end of it? That's his office.
That's well, when you're a cocky, it's like those dinner tables you see in these like mansions when like the husband sits at one end and the wife sits at the other end. Yeah, like Batman. But all the gifts were the exact same gift.
They were, yeah. They were all really small and the same.
That's what I mean. Like, so what do you think that gift was? Because it had like a weird shape to it,
like a phallic shape, wasn't it? It was kind of a cylinder.
It had like a long piece and then it had like an end, like it was like it reminded me of like the shape of. You ever see that game with the marbles when you bounce them and it goes into like a basket kind of thing, like a. Well, you don't know that game.
Marble in the basket. What you in the 1950s?
You've never seen the game?
You want the best Christmas gift? Marbles in a basket.
My kids love it. It's almost like what's the skeet ball? But you have these little marbles and it's different levels that you can throw the ball. You never seen it? Oh, you would love it. All right. Well, what can I tell you? That's what it looked like.
Maybe it was the two frogs having sex poster. He wanted to get rid of it, so he took his kid's poster, rolled it up, and gave it to his boss.
That would be weird.
He'd remember his name then. He'd be like, who got me that weird gift? Clark Griswold. He'll never forget it.
I want you, when you get a chance, you need to go back to that scene. And you got to look at the picture. Okay.
No, definitely.
All right.
But I love his line when the Brian Doyle Murray is so uncomfortable and he picks up the phone and goes, I got to take this. Get me somebody. Anybody. And get me somebody while I'm waiting.
What a prick. Like, he plays that role so good.
Yeah. Yeah. And now we get Clark sledding. And I think this is the first time in my life, like I guarantee going back, that Walmart, because Walmart's running around in Jersey then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not until like the mid 90s we had one in our town, but Walmart, you see Walmart in this movie.
And you know what? I've seen a movie 1,000 times. I don't think I've ever recognized, like, I never thought about Walmart. Like, I totally forgot that's where he landed. But, okay, so this is when we talked about the products that he makes and everything else. That seems like a really dangerous product.
Very.
That's a kitchen product, right? What would you need something that greasy and shiny and slippery for in a kitchen?
Nothing. There's nothing. And let's talk about when you see them first sit on the hill. When you look out, you see houses. Okay.
Yeah. The hill's not that big.
It's not even not that big. Even if he is going super far and fast, he's not going through backyards or anything. He's going through a forest.
He's going through a forest for a long time, and he's going downhill. Yeah. And again, it is far, but somehow everybody on the hill can see him when he lands.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and think about how far, like, he really was in the forest and lands in a Walmart parking lot. So, like, no roads at all. Like, literally, like, it's the forest and then Walmart. Like,
no, he crosses one road because he almost crashes into a car and he has to like steer out of the way and then he ends up at the Walmart.
Okay.
But how does Randy see him? Because as soon as he crashes, he's like, ah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, everybody. They were all like, the kids were watching. They're all like standing, like kneeling down, watching this whole thing happen. I don't think so. And the fact that he gets up and that sled. And as a kid, I remember those sleds. Like that was like the big thing back in the day. You know, they had first of all, back in the 80s, they had the most dangerous sleds possible. Those wooden ones with the metal, metal underneath. Like, are you kidding me? Like, how dangerous that is ridiculous. But so there's a hole in this metal that he was sitting on. How is his ass not ripped up?
Oh, his ass should be gone when Eddie picks it up later and looks through it. A window? It's
like a window, and it's like all jagged and sharp. He would be ripped to pieces. Like he would need stitches.
He would need a lot of.
He would need a new ass. He would.
So now we get to discuss the one scene in the movie that I wanted to talk about. When he's having, this is his dream, right? This is his dream that he's looking out.
If this movie was rated R, the ending of this would be a little different. It would be more Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yes.
And I honestly, I thought that's what was happening at first. You know, when you first see this movie, you're thinking that's exactly what's happening. You know?
Oh yeah.
But having the little kid there kind of like makes it a little icky. You know, like
really weird. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, this scene is just it was very funny. I mean, the girl ridiculous. But when Eddie comes out there in his cheetah speedos, right? Cheetah, with his guinea tee, I think he's wearing a guinea tee tucked into the speedo,
and you see it below the speedos. So you see 100%.
Yeah, it's coming out. Yeah, all the way down. And I think does he have flippers on?
He has flippers. Yes,
on the diving board.
And this is your dream. In your dream, you're going to have your in-laws there and your parents. It should just be like you and your kids and Ellen.
Okay. So yes, you're going to have, fine. You know, maybe just happy that, his family's there. I could see the in-laws, but why is Eddie in a Speedo? I mean, he barely knows Eddie till the first movie. Like, I know he mentions him like, oh, your cousin Eddie, it's been a long time. So he's probably never seen Eddie in a bathing suit ever. So why is he picturing him in a Speedo?
That is true.
I mean, so that's weird. And he's still happy. He's smiling the whole time. Like that would to me ruin, like he has the girl there. Was Eddie after? No, Eddie was first.
No, the girl was after. Yeah.
Okay, the girl was okay. That makes sense then. Okay.
That would have been funnier, I think. Obviously, we had the Fast Times ending, the way they did her going up the ladder. You think that's going to happen? But that would have been funny if, almost like in Happy Gilmore, when Shooter McGavin ruins his dream the first time and he starts making out with the grandma in the kiss mask. That'd be great if they show the girl on the diving board. Eddie comes up, pushes her in the water. Doing the same thing.
Well, this happens in so many movies. It happens in, I think, Dumb and Dumber when he's
oh yeah,
the lights like when she takes the top off and it's the headlights of the car. Like
the car,
all those movies. Like it's always like right the last second.
But we do get a little bit of side boob.
You do.
That's nice.
We had inner thigh in the beginning. And it's like, has she done anything? Like, is she like a model or anything? Or like, what is she? Nothing.
She might have modeled. Her credits are not that much.
Nothing. Okay.
No.
I'd be curious to see what she looks like today. See if she held up.
I'm sure she's on Google or she goes to, I would think because it's such a big scene. Like, it's such a memorable scene,
Oh,
like Christy Brinkley, obviously married to Billy Joel, modeling career. But if she didn't have all that, she would still be known.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Man, and then the fact that Eddie's daughter comes in and then she talks about, my dad said that Santa's not going to give us anything this year. And this is another funny airplane joke when she's telling the story.
Well, she says, "Are you Santa Claus?"
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that she's telling the story and she's like, and I was shitting bricks. And he goes, you shouldn't use that word. And he goes, I'm sorry, shitting rocks.
That is a total airplane joke.
So good, man. These movies really gave John Hughes the opportunity to use like that National Lampoon humor that he wrote years before. Now, obviously, he's writing family and teen movies,
Such creative writing. I mean, it just, they don't make comedies like this anymore. They really don't. And it's a shame because the writing is so good back then.
Yeah.
You know, all those lines. I mean, everything from Better Off Dead and Breakfast Club and all. They're so good. Like they don't do it anymore.
Yeah. And then we get the morning scene when the famous, the shitter was full when he's looking at Clark.
I did laugh at this because he says the shitter is full about 4 times.
Shitter was full!
Ah, yeah. You checked our shitters, honey?
Clark, please. He doesn't know any better.
Because he also tells the neighbors and again he's out there. What he's wearing, I guess, tidy whities with a robe, or like what is he wearing? Because he's
with a
wearing
robe
like
and that like bombardier winter hat thing,
which is way too small for his head, and the robe is way too short on him. Like it's literally like it's up to like it's almost like crotch area.
Yeah, and it's
like,
a fart version of, and you hear fart sounds sort of throughout the whole thing. Oh, it's Rudolph, and it's like fart sounds. Maybe because he's pouring out toxic waste.
Well,
his poop.
I would think so. But so the date is still like a few days before Christmas, right? So how long is that stuff toxic for? For what happens at the for what happens at the end of the movie? Like I would think, like because I know Clark's. When he originally says it goes, I'd hate to light a match around there or something, or he makes a comment.
That was the foreshadowing. He said,
yes,
it's illegal and the gas builds up. I hate to be anyone lighting a match within 10 feet.
Right. But so my question is, how long is it toxic for that, if you wait a couple of days, can you light a match and nothing happens?
I don't know if it gets stuck. It could be there for a while, I guess, but what is he eating? Well, we know from later in the 4th movie, remember there was something with a nuclear power plant in Vegas Vacation. There was something with nuclear, and he got some settlement. Oh yeah, he got settlement because their house got affected by radiation. So maybe that happened then.
Well, how big is a tank? I mean, because he was holding that hose for a long time. So I mean, it didn't happen in this movie, but I was waiting for a meet the parents moment where someone would explode with all the waste, like like that didn't happen, because they were setting that joke up, and I forget. I mean, I've seen the movie so many times. I was still thinking like, all right, the neighbors are gonna get it. Like she's gonna be covered in crap at some point. Didn't happen.
Didn't get it, but she didn't get her ass beat.
It was a joke waiting to happen, though.
It was, and we talked about it when they go to Walmart. And Eddie buying all the different types of dog food, the Walmart Old Roy, kibble and bits, whatever he could find. And I love this joke. And I think we can talk about John Hughes and how great he is. But the line when Clark is like, "Hey, we really want to do this,"
I know
and Eddie's like, "No, you shouldn't do that. No." Finally gives in. Here's the list. Catherine's on the top. It's an alphabetical order.
And then Eddie goes, Clark, I want to get you something. With his own money.
Really nice. And he does that face. Real nice.
But his own money.
Yeah. And then Aunt Bethany, Uncle Lewis. Now, Uncle Lewis, they wrote that part and designed the part to be George Burns. They just couldn't get him to do it. For some reason, he was still alive. Yeah. He had to be like
mid-90s.
Yeah.
But so why does Uncle Lewis sound like Gilbert Gottfried? He sounds exactly like Gilbert Gottfried. Like I wonder,
he always sound like that in movies. That guy always has that voice.
He does, but I wonder if he's related.
Maybe.
Although Gilbert Gottfried doesn't really sound like that, so but he does sound like Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, he really does. And okay, you can reveal your fact that from the producers and the stalls of Russo and Franks.
Well, she's the voice of Betty Boop and Olive Oil.
Oh, I didn't know Olive Oil. Look at that.
Well, because you don't have my connections.
I only know the low place. They only give me one tidbit.
See, they only give me one. I got both of them. And you know what? When you hear her talking, like you almost feel like it's an act. Like there's no way she sounds like that. No, she sounds like that. That's her voice. That's amazing.
And it's crazy that she was doing Betty Boop until the day she died.
I know.
Really?
Yeah,
she did Roger Rabbit the year before. And I think she just probably got old and like, I don't know what her health was. She died like, I think 10 years after this, but crazy. She was doing it until the end.
And she nails this role. Like, she plays this role. Like, this might be like the third best character in the movie. Like, I love Aunt Bethany. I mean, and I'm just concerned that these two live alone. They live together. Because the Uncle Lewis seems like the biggest creep who probably could care less about his wife at this point. And she's so gone that I'm surprised like he hasn't tried to kill her. Like, he can't take it anymore. Like, to trust those two together alone, I wouldn't trust them.
The fact that she wraps the cat as a gift and she puts kibble and she puts the cat food in the Jello.
And Eddie, when the present was leaking, Eddie comes over and licks it. And he goes, "Ooh, Jello." So it's something.
And later he's eating the Jello and he likes it with the kibble and bits. He's crunching it.
Well, based on the stuff he probably eats back home, that's probably a high end food that he's eating.
That is, yeah. And then when he asked her to do the toast because it was
she's the oldest one
birthday
because she's like the oldest one and yeah, something like that.
Crazy, right? Just think about the way people used to look. This is like 30 years ago. I don't know what their real ages were. I think she really was like around 80 because she died 89, but she was 80.
I know.
And he was younger.
I know. Isn't that crazy? But she does what? The Pledge of Allegiance?
What, dear? Grace! Grace! She passed away 30 years ago.
They want you to say grace. The blessing.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. One nation indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Amen.
So funny. I mean, first of all, okay, so, and then you have the turkey right afterwards, right? Does that really happen to a turkey? Like if you
cook
cut
it too much, could it dry out? I don't know if it could dry out that much, but I love that it hissed. It was like a basketball or a football.
It was
that, like, sliced open
and like deflates. Like, it was just like, I wonder if that could really happen. And then they still decide to eat it. And you see everybody's face like chewing on it. Like, what's her name? Is Clark's wife throws it. She doesn't eat it. She throws it over her shoulder. I don't know if you noticed that. Like, she pretends to eat it. But like, Clark is making all these faces because it's like the hardest thing. It's like they're eating a football.
But that's a good family that they actually try. But it seemed like Catherine and there was how many people in the house? Wouldn't they know when that went in? Or, you know, when it comes to cooking a turkey, everyone, even when you have people come over before it's done, they're like, "Oh, what's the turkey at? What's the temperature?" Like,
Correct.
they're all in on it.
They're all in on it. And first of all, the turkey looked a little small for the amount of people that were there.
It was tiny.
And they were having basically Thanksgiving dinner because there was sweet potato, I think mashed potato and string beans and turkey. That's Thanksgiving. That's not Christmas.
Yeah, there wasn't enough food. Not at all.
And I can't believe, and they still ended up eating the Jello. I can't believe they even risked eating the Jello because they all were eating it. I think because they were eating dessert.
Yeah. Well, they needed to eat something. They were so hungry. They had to. Another great line in the movie is when Clark goes, "Hey, kids, I heard on the news pilots saw a sled."
Oh.
And when Eddie turns and stops eating and looks at him and goes,
"You serious, Clark?" I was, you know what? I've seen this movie so many times. I still laugh out loud. And that scene, his face and the way he says it is hysterical.
Clark's look back at him like, "Are you serious?
Are you serious, Clark?"
And then we cut to, you see outside, we see the green gas again, like showing that it's pretty toxic. It's pretty, you know. And then this is the part that makes no sense too. So when the uncle lights the cigar, that's just him lighting the dried out Christmas tree? They forgot to water
Yes.
it over the last 10 days?
No, the dog drank out of the
Oh, that's what it was from earlier. Yep. Okay.
Right. So Snot was drinking out of the bowl earlier. And that's when I think Clark's like, he shouldn't be doing that. And he goes, I forget how Eddie just, of course, blew it off. But they didn't replace the water. They clearly saw the dog drinking the water out of the, so yeah. And
same guy that has plans, blueprints, and he's not going to care about this tree that he drug his family out. That was something that was like such a labor of love to bring
his
that out of
daughter
the forest.
almost died of frost. His daughter almost died getting his tree, and you're not going to take care of it? That's like a slap in the face to the daughter.
Oh
like,
my
you're not
God.
gonna take
Imagine
it
if she did. Imagine if she did die and then you forget to water it. Wouldn't you like care even more about that tree?
100%. Ed, this is a massive tree. How much water do you think this tree needs? It needs a lot.
So we get that tree is all screwed up, and then he goes outside with the chain, right? He goes out and gets another tree right away, or is that
No. That's
after he's pissed.
That's after he's pissed. No. Wait, we missed the. What did we miss?
No, well, next the bonus check comes.
No, yeah, but wasn't. Oh no, the squirrel was the other tree. Oh no, the cat. The cat. So the cat was eating the lights. You forgot about that. So the cat was eating the lights, and then I guess he turned the light. Or no, the cat unplugged the lights and then started eating the lights. And so Clark was wondering why the lights went off, and then went back and noticed that the plug was out. So he plugged it back in and fried the cat.
I love that.
Where'd the cat go? Because it just left like an imprint in the ground, right?
It
was on the couch. It was on the chair. The cat
under
like
the chair,
left,
yeah.
So it was on the chair because that's why they threw. Then why did they throw the chair away?
Well, because I think it burned through the bottom of it. But no, because they left the chair and you see on the floor, you see the imprint of the cat.
But there was no cat. Where'd the cat go?
It disintegrated. It went through. It went to the basement. It burnt so much. It was just
because I mean, like, maybe because I guess they couldn't show a dead cat. I mean, it just showed the outline of the cat. Like I was like, what? Like I just thought the cat just got burnt. Like I didn't realize the cat died.
Here, you just see smoke.
See, it would have been funny if the cat's like hair was all sticking up from the electricity, like with like a black, like all over his ashes all over the body and the hair sticking up. That would have been funny.
Maybe they couldn't show the dead cat.
Okay. All right. They can show dead. Wait. They can show dead Aunt Edna in the first one, but they can't show a cat in this one.
Animals, you can't show dead animals. All they show is a leash.
That is true. So they can show dead people. That's okay, but you can't show a dead animal.
No, they rarely do, right?
Yeah, that is true. Isn't that weird? If you think about it, that's extremely weird. Like you have no problem showing dead people
or turtles having sex on a poster,
well, they're not dead. Now, so if the one turtle was dead and the other one wasn't, and they're having sex, can they show it?
They have to blur it out.
Only they have to blur out the dead one. The other one is fine.
The dead one can keep humping. Because that's the way it would work, right? You couldn't have the dead one on top of the alive one. That'd be uncomfortable. That'd be lifting the dead turtle up and then maneuvering your body underneath, let it fall on you. That doesn't work.
Well, they are turtles. I don't know what that means.
Are you talking down to turtles? So then they get a knock at the door. It's Clark's Christmas bonus. The messenger said, fell between the seats.
Yeah, which he delivers at like 11 o'clock at night.
That guy left his family. He left his family.
For one card. He hand delivered one card. Like, when you throw it back in the mail?
That's
at that point? Or put it in the mailbox?
Yeah, put it in the mailbox. Why would you go to the door, right?
Yeah.
Ugh. And then the fact that he thinks it's for, and then without even looking, he tells him about the pool.
Which, and I mean, I could be wrong, but that's a major change to a house. You don't discuss that with your wife. Like, that's a major development in your house. You're losing your backyard. I mean, construction. Like, that's something I would think you would discuss with your wife.
Of course. Well, that and $7,500 down.
Correct. So that. But the fact that this is the moment also, without seeing the check, he's inviting to fly everybody in that house back for the grand opening of the pool.
Yeah.
So like I said in the beginning, how much he's got to be expecting like $30,000.
Oh, he has to be.
Right. Because that's going to cover, you're talking about airfare and the pool and everything else. That's, $25,000, $30,000. That's a big bonus.
It is
and he doesn't work in sales, right? Like, what does he do? Does he work in sales?
Scientist. He's a food additive. Yeah, because he writes that report for Brian Doyle Murray to tell him about like the new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a big bonus. All right.
That is way too big. And then the fact that it's the Jelly of the Month Club and Cousin Eddie. Ooh, that's the gift that keeps on giving.
This reminded me of, I don't, you weren't with True Green back then, but when we worked in South Plainfield, I remember Eric telling me this story that at the holiday party, the boss of, I don't want to mention names, but the boss of the branch comes over to Eric. He opens up his suit jacket. And now Eric at the time had to be about 20 years old, like 19, 20 years old, young kid. And he goes, "This is for all your hard work this year." And he hands him this envelope. Eric's getting a little excited. He opens it up and it's a family portrait of JCPenney's.
That's amazing.
And he goes, "What the hell am I going to do? I'm 19, don't have a family, and this is my gift." It was for a family like portrait, something like that. So that's what it reminded me of as soon as I saw that.
Well, that's what I wrote down my story of True Green. They gave us chili powder and a printed out recipe for Cincinnati style chili. That was in my box the last week before Christmas. That's what I got an envelope.
Do you realize that tomorrow Billy's going to get calls off the hook of people canceling True Green?
Well, I would hope. I think our listener reaches more than that.
Well, based on our podcast, I bet you we have a lot of True Green customers.
Oh, probably.
So, and they're all gonna be all pissed off at how we were treated, and they're gonna call tomorrow and cancel.
Use my goddamn Lime money to give them real gifts, not JCPenney. And then right at this point, this is the first rant that he goes on, right? This isn't the one when he goes insane, right?
No, this
is like a mini one when he's like, "We're gonna celebrate effing Christmas, right?
We're gonna have the happiest Christmas."
Okay.
Yeah, but then what's the other rant for?
The other rant is before.
It's before Eddie.
That's after he brings the tree in. Before Eddie brings everything.
Why does he go on that rant?
I don't know what brings up the second rant. Something happens. I don't know if it's the squirrel and the dog taking I think it's the dog.
Oh, no. Okay. Or is that when everybody was planning on leaving? And no. Everybody was planning on leaving now. Which rant came first? The long one or the shorter one? Because I want to say that I think the first one came first, like the long rant came now with this one because he's mad at his boss, and then later on when he starts going crazy and everybody sees that he's going crazy and they want to leave, he's like, "No,
all right,
everybody, yeah."
Oh, this is right now. You're right.
Hey,
right. So they were all planning on leaving.
If any of you are looking for any last-minute gift ideas for me,
yeah,
it's amazing.
I like Frank Shirley, my boss, right here tonight. I want him brought from his happy holiday slumber over there on Melody Lane with all the other rich people. And I want him brought right here with a big ribbon on his head. And I want to look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no-good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless,
I love his at the end when he just breathes and just now how much of that was made up?
So here's the story that it says it was rumored that the rant about Mr. Shirley was ad-lib, but this is somewhat true. However, what the audience doesn't see is each cast member of the film facing Chevy had a sign hanging around their necks that had one word written on each one, and some of them were adjectives that he used to describe, but still, it's epic.
No, but first of all, that is pretty creative and that's pretty awesome. But I'm sure he threw in it like you could tell like there's some words in there that monkey shit or whatever, like the things like in here he probably threw on his own that it's got to be one of the most famous like lines, like rants ever, you know. And it's amazing because to me that's something I don't know if you can memorize that. Like that's almost there's so much in there, so there has to be ad-libbing in there. You know, there has to be. You know, so no, it's amazing. So yeah, so I think this one is after he opens up the no bonus, and I think the one
this
later,
is right because this is when Eddie, you see the RV disappear right after the scene. This is when,
and the other one is later on.
Chainsaw.
Right. Okay. So this is where he basically does his Jack from The Shining, and is it Jack? Yeah, it's Jack. And this is where he flips.
I know. I do love when Todd and Margot are talking. They're like, "Wouldn't it be funny if we got a tree?" She's like, "I was thinking about getting a tree," and then our Clark cuts the tree on the side of their house, and it goes through the window.
So, but okay. So, but it's Christmas. Why don't they have a tree? Are they Jewish?
Well, no, I think they're super uppity, like you said.
Okay, so why wouldn't they have a tree?
They don't like
then?
mess. Well, they don't like mess. I'm sure the needles.
Oh, so you can't have a fake tree?
Were fake trees a thing then?
Why not? What do you think they only fake trees only happened in recently? Like I
was thinking one guy in like 92 is like, dude, why don't we just make one out of plastic?
I would assume the bougie uppity people would have a tree, like the biggest tree ever with all these, you know, like unless they said it because maybe they're Jewish and they said, wouldn't it be funny if we had a tree?
Is that funny? Is that what Jewish people do? Like they play these gags. They're like, wouldn't it be funny if we put stockings? What? I'll get a beard like Santa.
Well, they have, I saw it at a store. So instead of elf on the shelf, they have mensch on the bench.
On the bench. I saw that. Yeah.
Amazing. We did one of those, like, what are they called? Those auctions where you like the white elephant or whatever, where everybody trades the gifts in, and someone bought that as one of them. So the one Jewish person that was with us, they grabbed it right away. And it's like the funniest, like they were cracking up. It's so funny.
Yeah, so they have, again, Todd and Margot, they're really minding their own business. They have a tree go through the window. Shouldn't they call the cops? What is confronting
the amount of damage that goes on in their house because of Clark is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like they have a lot of damage that they need to fix, and it's all Clark's fault.
Dude, when he goes upstairs and I think he's brushing his teeth with the chainsaw on the counter.
Yeah.
And Ellen tries to calm him down with the little sparky line. And he goes, "Ellen, I'm fine. I'm fine." And then as soon as he leaves, he goes, the top of the staircase,
the knob. He cuts it off. Because it's been broken. So, that's the easy way out. Well, the first sign should have been when he came out of the garage and he's wearing a hockey mask with a chainsaw.
Well, that's the first scene. That's the first time he comes out. Because that's like the leather face he's wearing. That's when he says, I'll shove it up your ass.
Oh, it's right. Oh, okay. He didn't have it.
Yeah.
See, I think it would have been funnier if he had it now instead of
the
earlier.
Real crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wait, did you say Leatherface?
Yeah, the way he's holding the chainsaw is
okay.
The first Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
So then another like funny gag. I love the squirrel that's in the tree when you hear the sounds and the dog's chasing it and the squirrel jumps on his back. And I love that he's like, "Hey, where is it?" And then he's running up the stairs while the squirrel's on his back.
That was very, I feel like they were freaking out a little too much over a squirrel.
Yeah,
like,
I
can understand. Like, I don't like mice, and we had a mouse in the house recently, and I made my daughter go get it. Or at least look for it. She didn't go get it. I made her look for it. But I don't like mice. I don't like bats, mice.
Bat would have been scarier because bats,
right?
You don't know what they're going to do,
right? And you'd be creeped out. A squirrel. Yeah, and you don't want it in your house, but I don't know if you would freak out. The mother was playing dead on the floor. She was laying on the floor playing dead. They're all screaming, running around. That first of all, by you running out of the room because of the squirrel, now you're not going to know where it is.
That is true.
Wouldn't that be worse? Because now it could be anywhere in the house, and you just don't know when it's going to come out. Like, wouldn't you want to know where it is? And then what he say? He goes,
dead.
And he goes, I'm gonna get the pillowcase and beat it to death or something like that. Is that or because he had the hammer or something?
Him and the dad are looking at each other, and it's like, you put it on top.
No, but he told his wife, he goes, or she said, you're gonna beat it to death or something like that. Like that's your way of getting it out, to beat it to death.
And then this is at the same time this is going on. Todd and Margaret are outside, and she's like, you're not gonna go? Fine, I'm gonna go to the door. And at that very same time is when Snot sees the squirrel, jumps at it, knocks the door down, and knocks her out.
And then he quickly shuts the door. So he literally sees his neighbor getting mauled by a dog, and he basically pretends like he didn't see it, and he shuts the door. I have to assume that's illegal. Like, I don't know if your dog starts attacking your neighbor, if you could just pretend like you didn't see it, everything's okay.
Well, not even if you saw your neighbor in distress, and even if you saw your neighbor trip and fall and like break his neck, I think you have to do something. You can't just go back inside.
But you're talking about this. You could like, at least they broke their neck. It already happened. All right, you know what? You could call an ambulance. Here, you're seeing an attack happen right in front of you. You could stop the dog from making anything worse than what's going to happen to begin with. Like, she's going to get her face eaten off, and you're basically going. I mean, this is a Rottweiler, so you're like, you know, she's lucky she's able to walk home, and she does, you know, but he just literally shuts the door and lets the dog maul his neighbor.
And Todd's just as bad. How did she get knocked out and like have to crawl home? Because he was already on the couch reading a book.
No, because he didn't go. She says you got to go next. Oh yeah, so he didn't go at all. So he's
no, they were outside the house. They were outside of the house when they had that argument.
No, but Todd didn't walk over. He was at the. Oh, so you're saying he saw the wife get mauled, and he's like,
no, he was still. They were outside of their house when they made that decision.
Right,
goes,
correct.
You got to knock on that door. So
right.
Instead of waiting he just said, "Oh, you're going to handle this. I'm going to go inside."
Or maybe he saw her getting mauled, and he's like, "This might be my way out." Oh. So he wants to make sure it's done before he went upstairs. Like
they were pretty much done anyway. Like they must have been on a rocky relationship, maybe because of the Griswolds. Maybe that was like causing stress, because when she knocks him out, he must have left.
And that was a hard punch. Like she knocked him over the couch.
We know she can push, and she pushes hard.
She does push hard.
And then this is another one we talked about, the other rant that he does, the happy when he's freaking out, and because everybody wants to leave, which he doesn't want them to at all.
That's enough. Well, not for nothing. At this point, you've just gone through everything. You're gonna wait it out. Like you're gonna it's not even. I think it's Christmas Eve at this point, right? I think it's Christmas. Right, okay, so it's Christmas Eve. They're gonna leave on Christmas Eve after everything else they've been through. I'm on Clark's side on this one.
No, I agree. And I love that it ends with the last line, how could things get worse? And then we cut to seeing Eddie's RV leaving a very nice house.
Now, yeah. I mean, first of all, how did Eddie get there?
How did he know where it was?
How did Eddie know where his boss lived?
Unless the letter, which this would make sense, why would the letter be from the boss's residence? But no, that's the only guess I have.
Okay. I'm going to say that Eddie doesn't know how to read. So that's first of all. So I don't think he's smart enough to put two and two together to look at the envelope and see that's the boss's address. I mean, he literally took Clark's word, like for seriousness of kidnapping his boss. I don't think so he should not have found that. He has no GPS. Okay. So even if he does have the address on the envelope, how does he know how to get there? He's not from the area. You know, he doesn't live around the corner. So how would he find his boss's house?
I'm sure he can't read a map either. So,
can't read a map. And now the boss is obviously loaded, got a lot of money. He doesn't have an alarm system or anything that Eddie could just walk in there and tie him up and bring him out. Because I'm assuming Eddie wasn't the most quiet doing kidnapping. I wish there was like part of the video of showing the actual kidnapping. I would like to see that.
How he did it, yeah. How he did it. It's not like he had a gun.
Right.
He didn't have a fake weapon.
Not at all.
It's not like he had anything.
Yeah. So how did he get inside the house? Because they look like the type of people that would look through a peephole, and they look at him, they wouldn't open the door.
Yeah. And he just took him, left the wife, and the wife watched the whole thing. So what did he do to get them? It's not like he had a fake gun, no.
Yeah.
That is true. How about Clark's dad when he's trying to console his son, and he goes, Dad, how'd you get through all those holidays? They were so hectic when we were a kid. And he goes, I got through with the help of Jack Daniels.
And you know what? That whole scene, though, was pretty good, though, because it was like there really wasn't a lot of comedy in their conversation. There was like, it was a little tender moment between father and son. It was pretty neat.
It was. And then he goes, Hey, Dad, are you going to read Night Before Christmas? And he goes, Nope, it's your house. It's your turn to do it. And everything's calm. Clark's nice. Calm, and he's reading it, and everything's good. And then in the middle of a line, he looks over and he sees outside Eddie and his boss tied up with a giant ribbon on his chest.
And again, without a gun and everything else, I just want to know how Eddie did this. And this is Clark's second kidnapping, because he kind of kidnapped John Candy in the first one.
He did, yeah.
So
he did.
Well, in the second one, his wife gets kidnapped. Right? Doesn't she get kidnapped a little from the wasn't there like I thought she got kidnapped. So.
I gotta be honest, European is not one that I watch as often.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I mean, there are funny scenes, so I haven't seen it in a while. But yeah. All right.
I watch Vegas. Vegas is one I watch a lot.
Vegas is good.
Wayne Newton. She leaves him for Wayne Newton. But yeah. So then we have, again, like anyone, you have this boss. He has a lot of money. When he sees what really happens, he gets confronted and he gets really quiet. I love his response to show that he doesn't understand, but he's still an uppity dick. He goes, It's people like you, the little people.
He had to throw that in there.
He had to.
But
he gets the bonus back. But does he say how much? He just says all the bonuses are back, right?
Yeah. So he easily could have done that. And he just chose to do jelly of the month. I love the fact that when the cops do get there, that they agree that the boss is a scumbag. Like
the cop actually says, if I had a rubber hose, I'd beat you with it.
Which is kind of weird though. Like what? Like of all the things he can grab, why would like a rubber hose?
I never understood that phrase.
Beating
someone I guess it hurts because it's like a whip. But what a
but there's a lot of things you could say. A rubber hose. Like I don't know.
No.
That didn't make sense.
So to talk about the jelly of the month thing. So let's say Clark's bonus is $25,000, right? Because it has to be that much money that he's gonna do the pool that he puts down a $7,500 deposit. How many employees are there? So this decision, the jelly of the month, probably costs what, $50 tops
back then. Yeah.
So this guy has to talk to the board of directors and be like, "Hey guys, I went back on the decision, and now we have to pay out." How many employees do they have? Even if they have 10 employees, Jesus Christ, dude, that's $250,000.
Yeah,
that's gone.
Yeah, that is very fun. And you're talking about back then. So, think about that. Yeah.
God. And the next scene's so great too, because just the way the cops, when they get to the house, to the tune of, "Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus."
And like, it's a whole SWAT team. Like, it's like, hardcore.
And they go into, that's what I was talking about. Like, Margot kicked Todd out because she's like, "Todd, I told you not to come back." And the SWAT team busting the door down. So not only is her windows are messed up, the CD player that was so expensive back then ruined. Now she has no front door, all because
the entire house got destroyed in a matter of a week. Because I mean, this basically all happens in a week with her house.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
And the line that goes with it: "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." And then that's when the SWAT team busts into the window.
And they tells everybody to freeze. And I love Beverly D'Angelo. That had to be. I bet you that was ad-libbed.
Oh, with her hand right on it?
Yeah. I don't think that was planned. I think that was, and I'm hoping it's ad-libbed because that's hysterical. That's like, so like that's such a funny joke. Like, that's amazing.
And even the wife's pissed at Brian Doyle Murray. about it. She's like, how cheap could you be?
Yeah. Which is funny because, like, you know, a lot of these movies, like when you have like the rich couple, like she would totally be for him saving money for they get, but yeah, it just shows you like what a jerk he is. So that was pretty funny.
And then that's it. Then they go outside, they see the Christmas star.
Well,
the uncle,
doesn't he say it's not a Christmas star? What does he call it? Power plant? No. What did he say? He said it was a Christmas star, and then someone said it made some kind of joke that it wasn't a Christmas star, it was something else. I forget what he said. But yeah, and then they start smelling something.
Yeah, and then when he lights the stogie, was it before or after the net? Then she started singing the national anthem.
No. So it blows up, and then she sings.
Play ball.
And he goes flying. I mean, this guy, so he lights up the tree. So he really is the biggest troublemaker more than almost anybody, because he almost blows up the house when he lights a cigar. That stupid cigar he has. And then, well, don't forget his toupee fell off at the beginning too when he first
yeah.
And Clark's like trying to put it on him.
Yes.
So this guy almost blows up the house twice, in the front and in the house. How the heck is he living with Aunt Bethany? How are they still alive? Like I feel like they're just like a murder blow up or whatever waiting to happen. Like they're accidents waiting to happen.
They're like a Mr. Magoo if they were a couple. Like the fact that whatever they do, I could watch a movie with them, like them just doing whatever and everyone else getting hurt, but except them.
That's exactly what it looks like. So, but yeah, I mean, but if you think about it, in reality, they're living together. They're lucky to be alive. So, because he might be as senile as she is.
Oh, he's pretty. Yeah, he definitely is. And then they see Santa. That's the end of the movie. You see Santa Claus, and then I do love the panning out of Clark, the way that like the camera pulls out and the credits start going. Man, such a great movie. I'm so happy that we're able to cover the greatest Christmas sequel of all time.
Yes, you know, and you don't even have to ask me. I for all the fans out there that think I hate every movie, I love this movie. Okay, so there you go. Okay, this is by far this is a movie that I watch every Christmas, every holiday. I watch it every year, and it's funny every single time. You know, it's one of those movies that I think it never ages, and the jokes, as many times you can see it, you're gonna laugh every single time. It's such a classic movie. I absolutely love it.
And we talked about so many of them that still are so funny, and they're so different from John Hughes, like what most people know him for. They're just so in-depth.
You know what?
Jokes.
They're well. I think it's twofold. I think it's one, they're so well written. Like the comedy minds back then were so different. But I think the other thing is the actors are able to again put more of their, like, Chevy Chase is known for the ad-libbing. Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, like Bill Murray. Like, I mean, Caddyshack. Bill Murray makes up all that stuff. You know, like they don't do that today as much as like they did back then. And it just shows. Like, they don't make comedies like they used to. They really don't. You know, and this is just, again, a classic.
Yeah, of course. You have to see this movie every year.
I'm assuming your order is 2, 4, 1, 3. Right, so it's Chris. I'm sorry,
well, not 2.
I made
3.
Christmas. So Christmas to Vegas to the first one to the second one. That's your order, right?
No, I wouldn't say. I do love Vegas Vacation, so now I guess it would be sort of in that almost. I love Vegas Vacation. I think that one's so
it is
underrated.
I just think, to me, the first one is just so classic. Like,
I agree.
You know, and I think so. I love the first one. So I would go 1 to Christmas to Vegas to 2.
I think I probably do that.
2 is funny. I mean, you know, it has its, you know, it's not up there with the other ones, but it's still worth watching. It's still funny. It's still Clark. You know, you got to watch it. I mean, I would say no matter what, you got to watch all of them.
Hey, I got them all on VHS, man. We got to cover all of them. So
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh man. So yeah, of course you have to watch it. It's a Christmas staple. So yeah, so this is our last sequel of 2021. And we're kicking off 2022 with Batman Forever, a very underrated installment in the franchise, a great cast, and a title track that Seal Kiss from a Rose But so come on, who doesn't know that song?
I had the soundtrack on CD. I used to have the soundtrack on CD. There's a lot. I mean, Offspring's on there, and like there's a lot of good songs. But I mean, this is like Jim Carrey's like highlight. You know, like he was so big back then, so you couldn't pick a better Riddler. I mean, he was perfect as the Riddler. I love this movie. It's, you know, I know it doesn't get as much love as the other ones, but I think it's a great movie.
Yeah, dude. Just think of who's in it. You know, Val Kilmer, I think, does a great job.
He does.
Tommy Lee Jones is great as Two-Face. This was the Schumacher.
Yeah.
He went into the making it look more like the colors and go from the darkness to bring it to be more like a comic book. Like, bright,
it was great. So listen, you're going to 2 movies in a row that I like. So we're hitting it banks. I know there's a string of movies that are going to bring me right back down. So let's keep the train rolling right now, at least for the next one.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman, she's great in this. And I was lucky enough to interview special effects artist Eddie Yang. Eddie was a sculptor on this movie, and he did some painting during this installment. But he also worked on so many epic movies over the years: Predator, Gremlins 2, Return of the Swamp Thing, and so many more, like Avatar, you name it. And what was really cool was the way his origin story, the way that he wanted to do this so much at such a young age. When he saw American Werewolf in London, he fell in love with the work behind it. And then at the age of 16, he started cold calling and just going to studios. And the story is so great. Then years later, he was able to connect with Rick Baker, work with his studio. So many great stories about that. So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.